Showing up. It is day 317 of the genocide in Gaza, and we are here yet again to try and call on you to wake up and join us in fighting for justice. The topic on my mind is democracy and what democracy requires of us. Does anybody here know Blackstone's ratio? By show of hands, like if I say that, does that mean anything to anyone? Blackstone's ratio by William Blackstone, English jurist. Okay, you might not be familiar with the name, but I think you're familiar with the idea. Blackstone's ratio, William Blackstone was an English jurist in the 1700s, and his ratio is basically that it is better that 10 guilty persons escape than one innocent suffer. And this is a point of argument. You can argue for it, you can argue against it. This concept did not originate with him. It goes back to Jewish law and Islamic law and Christian law. But this idea, it is better that 10 guilty persons escape than one innocent suffer, demands of us that we focus on protecting our rights rather than punishing someone carelessly. And I just feel like the people that champion themselves as democracies have completely abandoned this and are instead opting for a complete opposite, that it is better that 10 innocent people suffer than one guilty person go away, which smells like authoritarianism to me. So, with that in mind, I want to play for you an interview from Democracy Now!, which was released less than 2 weeks ago, talking about the torture in Israeli prisons. Okay, so bear with me while I figure this out.
Israel is facing growing condemnation over the torture and rape of Palestinian prisoners. Israel's Channel 12 News aired shocking footage of Israeli soldiers sexually abusing a Palestinian prisoner. The video shows a group of blindfolded prisoners lying on the ground inside a prison at Sde Teman army base, which critics have compared to Guantanamo. Israeli guards are then seen taking one man into a corner where the soldiers encircled him and reportedly sexually assaulted him. Israel's investigation of this incident is what led a group of far-right Israeli protesters and lawmakers to break into 2 military bases last week in an effort to prevent the soldiers from being questioned. Meanwhile, a group of UN experts has warned Israel's escalating use of torture of jailed Palestinians is a crime against humanity. The experts wrote, "Torture practices are irredeemably unlawful and constitute international crimes, yet form part of the modus operandi of Israel's notorious detention and torture system," unquote. 50-year-old Firas Hassan, an official in the Palestinian Authority's Ministry of Youth and Sports, describes not only being beaten by prison guards while in detention, but hearing that their brutal attack is being live-streamed for Itamar Ben-Gvir, the Minister of National Security of Israel, to watch. B'Tselem also spoke to Sari Haria. He's a 53-year-old real estate lawyer and an Israeli citizen. He was arrested and detained over a Facebook post November 4th last year. In this clip, Sari describes Abdurrahman Mari, a 23-year-old man in the isolation cell next to him, screaming in pain and later being brought out in a body bag.
He screamed in pain constantly, begging for the doctor. The guard would come now and then and swear at him and tell him to shut up. In the morning, the guards came to count us. One said, "Get up, you animal. Get up, you dog." They checked him, and the whole place went silent. Finally, the doctor said, "There's nothing to be done." One of the guards said to them, "My condolences." And they all started laughing. They put him in a black body bag and carried him out like trash.
We're joined right now by Sarit Mikaeli, International Advocacy Lead for the Israeli Human Rights Group at Salam. The group's new report is titled "Welcome to Hell: The Israeli Prison System as a Network of Torture Camps." Sarit, thanks so much for being with us. Just as we listen to these horrifying accounts, please lay out your findings.
I think on the very fundamental level, Amy, our findings look at the systemic, ongoing and state-sanctioned, government-sanctioned use of torture and abuse in the Israeli prison system vis-a-vis Palestinians who Israel considers to be viewed as security prisoners. Now, this is something that we have discussed in the past. I mean, torture and abuse of Palestinian detainees in detention and interrogations have occurred. They have been documented. But the level, the degree, the scope, the scale of this phenomenon since October 7th are simply unrelated to anything we've seen in the past. And when we look at the way these people are treated, you showed some of the testimonies. Some of the many more testimonies are actually available on our website, and we're sharing them online. You see that clearly this isn't the actions of any sort of rogue element of the Israeli prison system. It's a government sanctioned and also government supported, government mandated policy. And that's the essential conclusion that we have from all of the information that we've collected in recent months.
What else is there to say? I actually don't have the words. Let's just keep going.